Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar. The title of our presentation today is called Doing Music Together as a Shared Occupation, a socio-altruistic music program as a collective occupation and a learning opportunity for occupational therapy students. We would like to thank Dr. Twilly for the invitation to present in the webinar. And we understand this is the last session for the year. So we're really pleased that you are deciding to join us and hear what I want to tell you about music, singing, and occupational therapy. My name is Daniela Castro Jong. I'm an occupational therapist from Chile originally, and I came to Australia via Sweden, where I completed my doctoral studies. And I have been working as a lecturer in occupational therapy in the University of Canberra since 2016. And I would like to welcome Dr. Pike-Rowney, who is my co-presenter today.
Thank you, Daniela. Hello, everybody, and it's wonderful to be here. Even if we're still over at this side of the planet, it's lovely to be talking to other people on the other side. And I'm currently a visiting fellow at the Centre for Mental Health Research, but my work has many hats. I wear a lot of hats. I also run what's called the Music Engagement Program, about which you'll hear a bit more as we go on. But I've been working in music in healthcare contexts for a very long time. And our collaboration has been going on for a very long time with the Occupational Therapy Unit at University of Canberra, so it's lovely to be presenting that work here today.
Thanks, Georgia. The next slide, please. So our presentation today is based on our shared publication, actually, and you can access this publication in the Journal of Occupational Science. And it's co-written, as you see, by several authors, where we present our collaboration between the Music Engagement Program and the University of Canberra. And we bring the voice of ourselves as educators, but also the voice from our students and graduates. And we'll have some quotes from them by the end of the presentation today. So if we trigger your interest in the topic, we really invite you to look for the publication in the Journal of Occupational Science, where we expand in all the topics that we will be discussing today in our webinar. The next slide, Georgia, please. So what are we doing today? We will bring a little bit of background and context to what is music, what is music in occupation and occupational therapy, and how do we use it to teach actually occupational therapy students. Georgia will explain the music outreach principle that is at the base of the program that we use. Then we will talk about music outreach as a co-occupation, connecting our doing with occupational science. And then we will explain how do we use music outreach for teaching and learning purposes in occupational therapy. How do we bring this to our students? And then what happens after, actually? And then some implications for practice and some messages to take home from today's presentation. Georgia? So the first thing that we would like to ask you to think about music as an occupation in your own life. Think about when you sing in the car, for example, which songs do you sing? Do you sing really quietly? Do you sing really loud? Think then when you go to a karaoke bar, which is your to-go song? Which song you will always sing that brings all these memories and that you like to sing out loud? Then think about playing the flute, for example, when you were at school, when you were in year 6 or 7 or 8, and you're asked to learn an instrument. Or even think about attending a concert from your very favorite band. That first time that you're able to see your band live. And we understand that seeing bands live have become an issue during the pandemic, for example. So if that's a form of occupation that is really important for you to connect with music, it's something that has been really challenged during the pandemic, because we haven't been able to see our favorite bands performing. So when we think about music as an occupation, it's not a single thing. You might be a professional singer, you might be a professional performer, you might be someone who had some training and then left it. Or it might be that you say, I'm not really a good singer. I'm really ashamed that people will hear me. I'm singing, so it's something that I will do and keep really private. So it's about music making, it's about music sharing. Some people would like to write music. So when we say music as an occupation, it's not a single thing. All of us will do it in a different way. for all of us will look differently. And we need to acknowledge that when we think about how we use occupation in our training as occupational therapists, but also how do we use it in our practice. I don't know if my clients will share my musical taste, for example. So I would think that my favorite singer will create an emotion for my client, and might be not the case. So what we'll be doing today during the webinar is that we will be singing for you and with you as well. And that is what we do in the sessions with our students and our clients as well. So we really want you to think, which are the meanings and the purposes of music as an occupation in your life. As I said, some of you will have a musical background. Some of you, like me, will have none. Some of you will come from really musical families, and music is the way that your family connects. Some of you will have a song that says that song means home. If you're an immigrant like myself, there will be one song that takes you home in a second. Or if English is your second language or your third language, the moment that you hear that song from home takes you back. So we really want you to think about the emotions that also music will carry for you. It will be a song, it will be a singer, it will be a soundtrack, it will be that music from that movie. So music can be really active, music can be really passive, music can be really emotional, music will help you to connect. So also I want to for you to start exploring about that idea of music in your own life. And from there, we will be talking with you about how we could use music then as an occupation in occupational therapy to train our students and to implement it as part of our practice. So the experience that we have been sharing with Georgia over the years have taught us how to do this in the best possible way that we think has been really rich and really rewarding for everyone who's involved in the process. So if you want to pause the presentation for a second and really think about those songs that are part of who you are. It could be that you don't sing those songs usually, but those songs will take you home. Those songs will connect you with your childhood, with your grandma, with all those memories, all these celebrations that are important for you, for example. So really take a moment to think about the songs that make you. And if you're a performer, the songs that you learned, or how you learned to read music or to perform music, and so on. So really take a moment to think about music as an occupation and the role that it plays in your life. Georgia?
So, over to me. So, these are two examples of songs that we've used a lot in the program that we're going to describe in a little more detail later, which is the Music Engagement Program. And these two songs are used a lot in early childhood settings that we work in, but they're often really great to use when you're first getting people singing again. And in my experience with the occupational therapy unit, many of the students feel somewhat disenfranchised about their own singing. Most of them feel like they're bad singers. And so picking some songs that are basically a form of almost folk song. You Are My Sunshine is a popular song. It's an American song, but a lot of people know it in at least some vague form. So it can actually be an incredibly useful song to get people singing again. Now I'm going to sing it, and I'm hoping you're going to join in. Daniela will be joining in from her end, I know. And just join in with me if you can. I'll just sing it. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are grey. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. It's a very simple song, and some would say quite a cheesy song. But in fact, I think I've sung that probably tens of thousands of times because it's a song that is constantly asked for in care facilities, in early childhood contexts. People really love it. The one next to it is a song called I Like the Flowers. Now, I'm only going to sing through songs once, but I do encourage you, if you'd like to sing them again, to just pause and rewind and sing them again. They're really fun. So this one, I Like the Flowers, I've used a lot in context of for schools for children with significant disabilities, and they really love it, partly because it has a lot of physical actions that go along with it they really love. Plus there is a boom at the end, which I will demonstrate. I use this all the time in early childhood as well. It's really fun. So again, please just join in. It's very silly. You have to do the actions as well. It goes like this. So you make a flower like this, just like Daniela is showing you there. Go like this. I like the flowers, I like the daffodils, I like the mountains, I like the rolling hills, I like the fireside when the lights are low. A boom-de-yada, 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 boom-de-yada. I like the flowers, I like the daffodils, I like the mountains, I like the rolling hills, I like the fireside when the lights are low. A boom-de-yada, 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 boom! And you can bet the boom is most people's favourite bit. Right. So, Daniela, would you like to talk about this bit? Or would you like me to?
You can go, Georgia.
So, the engagement that my program, Music Engagement Program, has had with the Occupational Therapy Unit has gone on for a long time, since about 2014. And there's a really interesting shared philosophy and intent when it comes to the type of approach that the Music Engagement Program uses, and the particular approach to occupation, but also particularly co-occupation that Daniela talks about a lot. And a lot of it is about encouraging people to do, to act, and to think about what is meaningful in their lives. And one of the difficulties with music in health contexts is that, in fact, a lot of people have had quite problematic relationships with music, particularly if they were heavily trained in school or didn't have enough opportunity to be trained, or if they didn't have enough opportunity to make music. Often music, particularly nowadays, has become very passive. And a lot of people have had bad experiences where someone has said something about their singing, or they feel that they're not allowed because they're not a professional. So there are these tensions going on in music making, particularly in, I would say, Western contexts, where music has gone into the school system and become about technique and skill rather than human connection. So what we're trying to do is bring it back to that human level, where it's about shared music making together, and where there's an even playing field between, say, client and occupational therapist, audience and performer. It's about evening out those sort of separations that take place in a lot of music making situations. And this has been very successful. So over 300 occupational therapy students have actually come and engaged in music outreach. For example, the photograph that you can see there on your left is, in fact, that was the first outreach we took students on, I think in about 2015, I think that one was. And students are there engaging with residents, getting to know them, singing songs with them, getting requests from residents. So it was a really powerful thing, and students seem to really enjoy it. The music outreach principle is the philosophy upon which all of our work is based in the music engagement program. It was first developed as a philosophy by Diamond, who you can see there, who's a dear gentleman who passed away earlier this year, much to my sorrow. And I learnt very much a lot about music outreach from him, and he really changed the way the arts were being used in health in the 90s. And that's where Susan West came across his work. Susan West is seen there in the corner, the bottom corner. You can just see her head over our little squares, I think. And Susan West is my colleague, and she was my teacher as well. And she used music outreach to really change the way she was using music in education, in fact, and showed that music outreach was very different from, say, a sing-along, which is where the power and, I suppose, the key music making is still with the performer and everybody else is singing along with that performer, as opposed to this even playing field where everyone is making music together. So that's the idea. And the music outreach principle presumes that creativity and empathy, this feeling of wanting to give out to others, are basic human functions because we're human. So all of us are musical. All of us want to engage with others socially. It's just that sometimes we haven't had those opportunities to be able to enact that in our lives. So our aim in that program is about enhancing your ability to enhance the music making of others. So it's passing over the power and the skills to others, and everyone is capable of doing that, including, for example, in that photograph, a child who is largely non-verbal, but she is still able to reach out to others, in a sense, through music, even if she can't actually sing. It's a whole music making environment, but also this social environment, and everyone can engage at that level. So, and more specifically, we aim to enhance your ability to enhance others' ability to enhance the music making of others. So it's about passing on that feeling of wanting to enhance others to the students so that they can help the residents feel like they can give back to the students. So you want everyone feeling like they're helping, because that's where the real benefit lies in terms of our well-being. Over to you.
Thanks, Georgia. And I would say that the idea of the musical reach as a co-occupation was not a straight idea. It took a while for me to realize the potential that it had. Started when I moved here to Australia, and someone said, you know that you will be teaching music to the students. And I was really scared because I said, I'm not musical at all. Do you want me to sing in front of the students? I was a little bit ashamed. I didn't know how it would look like. And they said, you should talk to Georgia and Susan West. And I said, I didn't know what it would look like. And then they talk about the idea of using old Australian songs that I wasn't familiar with. So it was this double layer of challenge for me as well. So I attended a session as an observer to understand how the sessions will look like, and to learn the songs basically, because those songs were not familiar for me. I couldn't connect emotionally with the songs because my background was in Spanish. So all the songs I bring really strong memories from my childhood are in Spanish actually. So learning all these Australian songs helped me to understand a little bit about the history of the country and to connect with residents, with kids, and with the team actually, and with the students. So by being a participant in the sessions, before even teaching our students on the first iteration that I was part of, it became really clear to me that it was actually a co-occupation. Why a co-occupation? Because when we're singing on our own, for example, and I will use some example, when you're driving on your own, it's one thing. And you can sing out loud as you want, and you can sing as badly as you would think when you're singing. But when the car is full with your friends from your youth, from high school, for example, and you're singing all those old songs that you love, it's a different story. It's a different occupation. Because you change the form, the occupational form is different. So when I'm singing with others who might not know the songs, who might be unable to speak, who might be limited in their mobility, for example, because they're living with a disability, it becomes a completely different thing. It becomes a completely different occupation. So I started discussing with Georgia this notion that I was getting that the music outreach sessions were actually a co-occupation, that you need two people at least connecting through a song. And the connection could come from holding hands, looking at each other, singing together, clapping. Some people even dance during the sessions, but they will decide how the engagement will look like. So we keep this idea on this the social engagement that is critical for the music outreach sessions. So music is the vehicle that we use to connect. And that what makes these sessions a co-occupation one. Also, we discuss the idea of collective occupations. So you will read the literature about collective and co-occupations. And there's some similarities and some differences that we, if it is something that you're interested in, we really invite you to explore further. So the co-occupation, you need at least two people to do it together as defined by Pierce originally. And the shared engagement in the music outreach sessions occurs in a natural way and allows the creation of purpose and meaning. It's us singing together. It's us singing You Are My Sunshine. And for that particular moment in time, for that particular session, you will be my sunshine. And the next time that I will see you, you still will be my sunshine. Or I will meet someone else that will be my sunshine for that day. So it's the co-occupation of singing, but it's the co-occupation of connecting with others as well. So it has this double layer. It's about the songs, yes. It's about the music, yes. But it's about connecting. So it has these multiple layers that we engage with others. Because also when we're singing, we're talking, we're connecting. As I said, connecting will come from holding hands, looking at each other, singing together, yelling out the songs that I know that you like, so they will sing it for you. It's not about the quality of the performance, as Georgia said, it's not the performer and the audience in a different level. It's a co-occupation. We're singing together. I learned many of the songs from residents. I said I cannot remember the lyrics the first time that I sing all the songs. The residents will sing with me, for me, teaching me. So the imbalance in the engagement in this musical occupation was shifted, and we're equals. And that is the beauty, and that is the magic that we think that happens. And I will try to capture, and we have tried to explain this in different ways, and co-occupation so far has been the best way that we have to explain this from occupational science. And we will talk shortly about how we use it in occupational therapy education as well. Yeah.
So this is an example of a song that is very well known in Australia in care facilities, partly because it was hugely popular through the Second World War, but it actually comes from earlier than that, in the very early 30s, written by a man called Jack O'Hagan. And one of the reasons that these songs are very powerful, but also why the residents of care facilities are so powerful and such an underutilised force when it comes to this kind of work, is that they still remember a time where people got together and sang. And I've just been undertaking some research at the National Library of Australia about this period, particularly in the 20s and 30s, but it continued after that, about this sense of community singing and community repertoire, where everyone knew the same kinds of songs and would sing them together. They'd gather around the piano. And I know this certainly happened in many other countries, and is still happening in many other countries. So we're not suggesting this idea is new or that it's somehow unique to Australia. It's just we're trying to remember what it feels like and bring those feelings back. And that's why it's so wonderful, particularly in care facilities, because those residents are so wonderful at supporting all of us to remember how this is meant to feel. This particular song is really great. I do a lot of work in care facilities, in units specifically for people with advanced dementia. And in those situations, there's often what I think of as a key song that will unlock that person. And there was a particular lady involved who could be in the most foul mood, be throwing things, swearing a lot at me or others, until you started singing this song. And it meant a lot to her because she was born very close to this town called Gundagai. Gundagai is a little town in Victoria, in the southern part of Australia. And there was a huge number of songs written about tiny towns in Australia during the 20s and 30s. It was a really popular thing. And this song was very famous, and I'll sing it for you, and you can see, I think, why it was so well known during the wars, because it was very much, during the Second World War, because it was very much about thinking about home. And comfort and home is often a theme that comes up in these songs a lot. So I'll sing it for you. It's a really beautiful song. I'll sing you the verse, which isn't particularly well known. There's a scene that lingers in my memory of an old bush home and pals I long to see. That's why I am yearning just to be returning along the road to Gundagai. There's a track winding back to an old-fashioned shack along the road to Gundagai, where the blue gums are growing, the Murrumbidgee's flowing beneath a sunny sky, where my mother and father are waiting for me, and the pals of my childhood once more I will see. Oh, no more will I roam when I'm heading straight for home along the road to Gundagai. I will say for a lot of people, particularly, for example, in the care facilities, there'll often be particular songs that actually are a little bit nationalistic, particularly if they've come from a different country to Australia. And that's the case with most Australians. We've come from somewhere else, except for the Aboriginal population. We're all visitors. And Scottish songs, Irish songs, Italian songs, particularly in the care facilities with those older generations of waves of migration that have come to Australia. So I've had to learn the kinds of songs that would be most appropriate for those groups. So this is the other major issue, which I've touched on earlier, so I'll go through this quickly, but there is a big problem in music in health context because of this split between the idea that music must be good for well-being because creativity is good for well-being. Yet a lot of people who have suffered quite mightily from stage fright, from all sorts of anxieties and difficulties when it comes to exposing themselves creatively. So we need to somehow look at that and overcome those issues in order to then make use of it more in our daily lives. And one of the best ways to do that is to actually engage in outreach, because it becomes not about your own music making, but about others. Now, the photograph there is of a program we ran at a local high school where in Australia there's a big problem with males continuing to sing. That tends to stop. They tend to stop singing quite early, usually in the primary school years. And these high school students really wanted to sing again, so they decided to get together a group and get singing. And I would bring in groups of adults who had disabilities who had done a lot of outreach work, and those adults would actually lead the teenage students in singing. And also the teenage students could feel that they were supporting these adults in more social engagement. And in fact, a lot of them had never had an experience where they were engaging socially with someone of difference. So it was very powerful in that way. But the singing was used as a connecting point and as a bridge. So this is one of the things we're trying to do, is really including the way the room works. We're breaking down that performer-audience kind of dichotomy. So everyone's spread out and engaging very much on a one-on-one or small group basis around the room. So that's really how we're trying to change that way of thinking. Doesn't mean that performance isn't good. That's completely fine, but it's just different. And in healthcare and wellbeing context, we found that this can be particularly powerful. So Daniela.
Thanks, Georgia. So I have been telling you about music, about your favorite music, about purpose, about meaning, about all Australian songs, about connection, about shifting the power in relationships when we meet our clients. So how do we do this to teach occupational therapy students? So we will share with you what we do, how do we use this to teach our students, but also how we are looking at this further in practice, but also in research. So from here is all the principles from Dr. Diamond, all the work from Susan West, the work that Georgia has been doing in connection to the way that we teach our students at the University of Canberra. So what do we do? Students in the first year, everyone is invited to join actually. Georgia will come to the classroom and teach a session very similar to this one. In more detail, of course, but very similar to what you're learning today about the principle, about being a stage fright. We will reflect further on the idea of music as an occupation for everyone. And we will have a session in the classroom, and we will have some rehearsals, we will sing, we will go through these old songs, the new songs, songs that will work with kids, songs that will work with older people, and so on. And this happened in the classroom, and everyone said, what a beautiful session. But then, over 2 weeks, we will go and sing with residents at care facilities or with kids at schools. And then the story changes, because you're not that confident anymore. Some students will say, I'm really afraid that people will not understand my singing, that my voice is not really beautiful, so I will just stay in the corner so no one will see me. And we say, understand music as the occupation. Understand music as the vehicle to connect with clients. They don't need to come with an intervention plan, it's an assessment. I'm not assessing the residents, they're not assessing, they are just connecting. And then they will be at peace and reflect on the experience and the occupation of singing with others and using music as a way to connect with others. And many students will say over the years, these songs, I know them because my grandma used to sing it to me, for example. I used to sing it to my kids. So even the students will also start connecting and saying that they didn't expect that they will come to uni to sing. Also, sometimes we will ask the students to lead the sessions and to come with the songs and prepare and sing with the residents or with kids at schools. And becomes a really powerful, as you can imagine, learning opportunity. It's really simple. You don't need any equipment. You can do it at any time. You just need people who wants to sing together. And also something that we have learned over the years that we will be talking about in a second is singing looks different for everyone. You will think that singing is the same for everyone, but actually we have learned that is not. And that is a beautiful learning that we want our students to take home with them after participating in these 3 sessions. So what have we learned as educators here? This is the conversation that we have been running with Susan, George, and myself over the years, as well as the tutors that we have in the unit. That is vital, this is the voluntary engagement. There might be songs that you don't want to sing, and everyone wants to sing because they want to. Students are in a learning opportunity, but we will not force. If you don't want to sing a song, we will not go and force the student to join. We really want this to be a voluntary engagement because we want to be a rich opportunity to connect with others. The second thing is the one-on-one engagement with the community in group settings and enhances the experiences for the students. Some students will see many participants, many of the people in the residence during the sessions, or they will stay with one resident during the whole session, and that's absolutely fine. What we want again is that students can realize and can see the potential of using music as a way to connect and understand the potential that this occupation has. The third one is the importance of the mental break and having a fun time interacting with clients. So it's coming out of uni, it's coming out of classroom, come prepared with your songs and be ready to have a good time. And it feels really different. It's learning by doing, and we will say here is learning by singing. And sometimes singing is about me being quiet. In my personal experience, when the residents were teaching me the songs, I remained quiet because I wanted to learn the songs from them and I wanted to hear the stories that the songs were bringing for them. So it's really, as I said, singing is not always about being loud or getting my voice heard. Sometimes singing is about being quiet. The engagement is diverse. As I said before, some residents will like to sing, others will like to dance, others like one song, and it's the one song that they will sing. Others will clap, others will look at the yard. And sometimes we have residents, even students, get a little bit teary during the sessions, and that's absolutely fun as well. Some people will sing really quiet, some people will sing really loud. So engagement, even if it's the same session and we're together and we're connecting, your engagement and my engagement might be different, but we're connecting and we're respecting the difference and the diversity. And that's really, really important in the frame of the sessions. There are no predetermined outcomes, so there are unforeseen outcomes as well. It could be that you realize that this person that you're talking to are from the same region or the same town that you are. So people could connect in ways that we don't expect or we don't anticipate. Or it could be the family members are around visiting and they decide to join the session as well. And everyone is welcome. Staff is welcome, students, residents. If a resident want to come for 3 songs and leave, that's absolutely fine. We're there to sing, we're there to connect, and we're there to look after each other. For 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or an hour, that's what we're there for. Also, it's the importance of remaining responsive to the needs and the interests of the group in an outreach session. We don't have a list of songs. This is not a concert. This is not a playlist. So song number 1 is German Sunshine, and song number 2 is A Road to Canberra. It could be that the group wants to sing different songs. That is Christmas, and they want to bring old carols, for example. That's absolutely fine. It could be that one person wants to teach a song to the others. So it could be there's not a given list that we need to follow. And if someone wants to sing the same song 3 times, we will sing the song 3 times. And we will sing it louder, and we will dance a little bit. We will do different things to make sure that we're responding and connecting with the needs of the participants, of everyone who's engaged in the moment. I cannot say, oh, next time we will do this. So I'm saying, we want to sing the same song again today. Now we will do it. And the section therefore is really flexible and adaptable to the needs of those who are engaged in. And also there has been some discussion when we're singing with people who have been described as non-verbal. Everyone can sing. We can promise you that everyone can sing, everyone connect. Everyone, they will look in your eyes, they will hold your hand, they will tap, they will give you an indication the song is there with them, but they're connecting. So as I said, singing is not about getting my voice heard. It's actually being with you in the moment through a song. So all these learnings are there with us. And the best way that we have for students to learn this is through engaging in the sessions, actually. And that's why Georgia will come to the classroom first to introduce the theory behind. But the only way that you will really understand this is if you're engaging in a session with residents, with kids, anyone actually. You will do it in your village, you will do it in your town, you will do it with a group of moms, you will do it with people. What we need here is people and a few songs, basically. Georgia? So over the years, we have been asking the students, what do you learn? What do you think? What are you taking away from the sessions? So here are a few quotes that I, of course, did identify from our students over the years. This student says, we as occupational therapists need to claim our roots and celebrate our beginnings with the arts and crafts movement. So by losing, the student is calling, saying, it seems that we have lost the connection of arts and crafts as a powerful tool in our profession. And this student was really compelled by what the music engagement program was bringing back to the profession. So also for you to think, for us it's music, it could be cooking, people will say. Think about other ways of people who have to connect. The beauty of music, we think that is universal, and is no cost at all for those involved. The next one, where's the student, what's the best? What are you taking out of these sessions? As the student said, it really helped me to communicate and build rapport with elderly people. It does build confidence and it makes you feel good to bring such joy to people by doing something so simple. And to see how much the residents enjoyed it, and to see less confident students growing more confident. So you see that the benefits are not only for the students and not only for the residents, everyone is getting something out of it. And this is from the students. But also we said to the students, what will we do differently? How the session will be even more powerful? And this student identified that some residents who didn't have dementia at the time indicated that they can't sing because they don't know the words, they don't know the lyrics. And it might be nice to give people an option to have it so they can engage with us more. Some people really like to rely on lyrics because they want to follow the actual song if they don't know them by heart. And also, another student said perhaps not wearing the uniforms or only wearing the name badge will make the things more personal. Some students felt that wearing the uniform or being a student would create some barriers because it was not a therapeutic intervention. They were not implementing treatments. It's about connecting as humans. So we have been asking the students this over the years, and we'll see some trends, but every year something new will come and we keep learning. This is a really flexible learning opportunity. opportunity. Georgia will share with you some of the projects that students have developed over the years from what they learned in the program, but also in the placements.
Yes, so some of the occupational therapy students came and did their long placements with the music engagement program, which has been really fantastic, particularly in situations where a student arrives thinking, what on earth am I doing in a music program? This has nothing to do with occupational therapy, only to be completely converted by coming and seeing a situation, for example, in a dementia facility where a resident's been crying for 3 days and they sing You Are My Sunshine, suddenly they're fine, and thinking this is the best thing ever. So it's been really great to have the students come, because we also gain a lot as a program, having their input and their different perspective. So some of the projects they've developed have been really wonderful. One of them that was my favourite was the first one there, a multilingual songbook project. This is because, and I'm sure it's the case in many of your countries as well, that residents in nursing homes come from all sorts of different places. Now, in Australia, you might have certain nationalities that dominate, but in one particular facility these students went to, I think there were about 7 different nationalities, and it was a dementia ward. So a lot of the people who may have been able to speak English at one point have gone back to their mother tongue. So there was a lady from Finland, there was an individual who came from Brazil, there was another one from Africa. So what they did is try and find out what the You Are My Sunshine equivalent might be for those different language groups. And they went in and sang them with the residents to see if they worked. If they didn't, they went and tried to find something else, because you couldn't necessarily ask the residents. But that was a really great project, and they came up with a beautiful songbook as a result, which we've used since. Another great project was music for school-aged parents. So these are young parents who are still in high school who have children. And this great program, it's a wonderful program that runs at a local college. It was about getting the young parents singing with their children, with their babies and toddlers, and getting them using music as part of their parenting routine. Another project, a literature review on music and dementia care, came from this individual I mentioned, who first arrived thinking, what on earth am I doing here, and ended up particularly interested in the impact it could have in that space. And that led to a current project that was just published earlier this year, evaluating our program with people with advanced dementia in care. And finally, a really wonderful project with the Royal Society for the Blind, which unfortunately was defunded. The society was defunded. But for a while there, a student on placement with the Royal Society and a student on placement with us got together and ran their own group, singing with members of that society, which was really fabulous fun. And that continued for, in fact, a couple of years until the society was defunded. There's some current collaborations going on, including looking at music and mental health with at-risk teenagers, which is a collaboration with a medical school student and a police community youth club, which had some really interesting results. And as I said, the evaluation of outreach for people with Alzheimer's disease, so that's actually been published now. So you can just look up the music engagement program and it'll pop up. And I think Daniela probably put the reference in the references, or if we didn't, you can just contact us and we can send it to you. And a PhD student of mine is looking at this idea of optimal arousal in music performance anxiety. So this is really questioning this idea that all of us have to be anxious if we want to sing or make music. We don't subscribe to that particular belief. I don't believe that fear and anxiety has to be part of music engagement or music performance, indeed. I'm a music performer as well as someone who does outreach, and I think that the outreach has hugely influenced how I perform and changed my view around that. And with the University of Canberra, of course, the application to occupational therapy that we're discussing here, and also the nursing units in New Zealand, in the Southern Institute of Technology, right at the bottom of New Zealand, at the bottom of the world, are using music to train nurses to do this kind of outreach work as well, which is really exciting. So, Daniela.
So we're approaching the end of the presentation, actually. And as you might notice, we could talk about this and we could think about this many, many hours with Georgia. But we really wanted to summarize what we have been talking about today with you in a few take-home messages. The first one is the music outreach sessions, the music engagement program is good for the community. Singing with others, not for others. I'm singing with you. I'm not on the stage singing for you. I'm not showing you how well I know this song. And you might forget the verses and everyone have a laugh. And you just keep singing. So it could be with mothers, kids with disabilities, older people, students. It's good for everyone. We just take a moment to sing the songs that are important for us. And we're more than certain that the repertoire that we usually use, will keep changing because our populations are getting older. But also in Australia, because we have many residents coming from overseas. So we are aware that the songs will keep evolving and keep changing, and someone will bring a new song that we were not aware of, and that will be beautiful as well. The second one is for our students, and the musical outreach sessions as a new occupation. If you are a university student, sing when your lecturer said to you, next week you will be singing in public, and you will be enjoying it. Many of our students usually look at me and say, what? And they really enjoy it. You see the next session how different they are, how different everyone is. When you relax and you decide to enjoy the session. And that you understand that your voice is just part of the collective. That the most powerful voice in the room is actually the collective voice. And it sounds beautiful, I can promise you that. For occupational therapists, there are therapeutic implications, of course, of the music outreach sessions. You could use music as part of your regular activities, actually, regular things that you do as a therapist. We know therapists that they sing when they're training, for example, someone. And so it will be okay, will you be relaxed with singing a few songs while we're doing this, while we're training a new occupation, for example, when you're training someone on to navigate a house, it could be a way to relax and to engage with your clients. And for occupational scientists, music as a co-occupation has been a tremendous understanding and actually created opportunity for us in Georgia to keep reflecting on why the music outreach sessions are so powerful to be part of the occupational therapy program. So you can look at this from many, many perspectives. And we really want you to start thinking, which songs will I be singing if I was running this in my school, in my classmates at the university, in my teaching team, for example, if I'm a lecturer, or with my clients in the community. So really start thinking what you will be doing if this was joining the sessions. Georgia?
I might also add, Daniela, that one of the really important messages that I would like to give to everybody listening to this is the idea that you don't have to make music making a formal affair. It doesn't have to be just in a music session. In fact, it's much better if you just happen to be singing a song as you walk down the hallway with someone. As you're, I mean, we've talked to, in fact, there's been papers about how you could sing while bathing somebody. It can be embedded in everyday life because that's how music used to be. It's just because of the advent of recorded music, music has become more and more passive. So we want to bring back the active. This is a very difficult thing to do in COVID. And I will admit that it's one of the hardest things for me, and I'm sure for all of you, that the idea that somehow something that I think is so valuable has become something that's dangerous. The idea that singing with one of my dear residents that I've known for so many years could harm them by giving them COVID is a horrible thought. However, we've continued to do a lot of work online where we could, not so much with the care facilities, but with a lot of other communities, and that's been very successful. And it has had to turn into a bit more of a sing-along situation, but it still reminds people of those feelings that we had when we could get together and sing. And certainly a lot of the staff members at places where we've sung a lot have taken it upon themselves to encourage the residents to sing for themselves. And that's really powerful because they can sing for each other and with each other. So it can continue in different ways. And we've seen lovely examples of that during COVID, of people continuing on making music, even though it's been so difficult. So, some goodbye songs. Goodbye songs are very important. Partly because it's a nice way to wrap up if we are doing a big session of singing. But also there's a couple of goodbye songs that are very powerful for people and can be very emotive. The one on the right, Ko Atarao, Now is the Hour, or it sometimes used to be called the Maori Farewell, is hugely popular in the Second World War. And again, I often come back to wartime songs because they do stick in people's minds in a different way. And I think, again, I suppose like we have gone through COVID, the things that helped you get through that traumatic experience are the things that really stick with you. And this song, Now is the Hour, Hoatarao. Hoatarao is the same song in Maori language. Was actually popular the world over, which is why I chose this one. It was actually to a Swiss tune, but a Maori lyricist wrote the lyrics, and it's very, very popular. So I'm going to sing it for you first in English, Now is the Hour, and then I'll sing it in the Maori for you because it's a beautiful language. And I had to learn these when I went and did outreach down in New Zealand. So I'm very grateful to my colleagues there for teaching me. So, now is the hour when we must say goodbye. Soon you'll be sailing far across the sea. While you're away, oh please remember me. When you return, you'll find me waiting here. And then in the Maori, Hoatarao e moe ahi hone, e haere ana koe ki tamama. Haere rā ka hoki mai ano, ki te tau he tangi atu nei. It's a gorgeous song, isn't it? And then, so we can sing that one in Australia too. And then in Australia, we also tend to finish nearly every single outreach with Wish Me Luck As You Wave Me Goodbye, which I'm hoping that the Brits do know. Gracie Field sang it very famously. And we love this one because it's terribly jolly. So we like to sing this one at the end to give everyone a lift before we finish. So I will sing it for you. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Cheerio, here I go on my way. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Not a tear, mother dear, make it gay. Give me a smile I can keep all the while in my heart while I'm away. Till we meet once again, you and I. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. You have to do a big finish like that and do the high note. That's part of the fun, isn't it, Daniela?
So you can see all the media references and sources that we use to prepare this presentation and that we base our work in, because it's beautiful, it's really human, it's arts, and it's also science and it's knowledge. So we're really interested in keep developing our knowledge and keep researching why does it work, when and how does it work, why is it so powerful that we connect with humans and that's good for our health and our well-being. So we're looking at other projects to keep exploring the use of music in occupational therapy, in occupational science, and to work with people with disabilities, with residents, and so on. So keep an eye because we will keep doing research on this field. Next one, and here are our contact details. If you want to know more about the program, if you want to sing, Georgia has more experience singing overseas in New Zealand, as she mentioned, and in Scotland, for example. So if you want to know more about the program, about how we teach occupational therapy students and so on, contact us, and we will be more than happy to share our experiences over the years. Thank you very much for watching our webinar, and we're really hopeful that it was inspiring and informative. Georgia?
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Daniela.
Thanks, everyone.